Today, I'll be walking through the program I have here, which is a basketball game. And the story of this program is you want to help the basketball player shoot as many free throws as he can, and he only has 10 balls. So before we get into the code walkthrough, I will just run this program once for the start flag. So the ball moves back and forth, and you want to help the player try and score as many free throws as he can. So my score right now is 0, but when I make a ball, see the score goes up by 1, and every time when I want to shoot a ball, I hit the space bar. All right, so my score goes up by 1 again, so I have 5 balls remaining. Now I have 4, and if I miss or shoot, the ball count goes down by 1. So if I shoot these remaining 3 balls, so the ball count goes to 0, and then we display the score. So he says I made 2 out of 10 baskets. All right. So that's the whole run through of the program. So now I'll be walking through the code, and this code focuses on the applications of conditional loops and kind of some nested if statements. So students should have gone through those concepts already, so they should understand everything I'm going through. All right, so we'll start with the script for when the flag is clicked. So these 2 lines set the ball position. This one sets the size because you want it to be a little bit bigger. And then we set the variables, the score, which keeps track of the player's score, the balls remaining, which keep track of the balls left, and then we set the x speed. And the x speed determines what direction the ball is moving in. We only need an x speed because it's only moving in the x direction. All right, so the text is displayed for the start of the game. So this repeat until loop repeats until the balls remaining equals 0. So whenever I shoot a ball, the ball count should go down by 1. So basically, and these if statements inside the repeat until loop determine like if the x position is less than a certain number, then we want to set the xp to a positive direction so it can move to the right. And if it's greater than a certain number in the positive side of the stage, which is this side, then we want to set it to a negative speed so we can move it back to the left. And every single time we do these 2 checks, and then we change x by the x speed. So the x speed is either 20 or negative 20 at any single time. And we also wait by a small amount, 0.05 seconds, between each movement of the ball. And then this repeats until he has 0 balls left. And then after that, he says how many baskets he made. And then, so when I want to shoot a ball, I have to hit the space key, which is what this event does. And then this repeat until loop will repeat until the y position is greater than 120, which is around up here. And then we kind of change y by 10, and we change size by -2, and we keep doing that until y is greater than 120. So this will like change the size of the ball like repeatedly and get it a little bit smaller as it moves towards the basket, which is kind of what we want, like a change in perspective. And then these 2 lines here will determine if we should change the score. So these are nested if statements. They said we check first if the x position is greater than -20, which is like around here. And then if that's true, then we check is the x position less than 20, which is around here. If so, we count this as a made basket because we're basically creating a kind of a box in the x directions within these bounds. So if it's within these bounds, then we change the score by 1, and that means we scored a basket. And then regardless of what happens, if we don't score, we score. We change the balls remaining by -1, so the balls remaining count goes down. We reset the size, we reset the y position, and we reset the x speed, because when we shoot the ball, we set the x speed to 0 to make it stop moving in the x direction while it's moving in the y direction, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's about all the code. One thing a student might have issues or struggle with is determining like when this repeat until loop should stop. Like, they might still be new to the concepts of the ball. The whole idea of using a variable to determine kind of when the program should terminate, maybe a little bit confusing to them. But it's really easy once you figure out that, okay, well, what you should get students to think about what condition should happen that will cause the game to end. In this case, if we only have 10 balls, when we run out of balls, of course the game will end because we can't make any more shots. So I think explaining it to students in a way that kind of like, well, think about what happened when the game ends, or what's true when the game ends. In this case, the balls remaining will be 0 because we don't have any balls left. So that condition will be true in that case. And when that happens, the code should stop. This loop should stop running, and we should just print out the score at the end.